Wall Street Memes Casino.
I'm fine.
And Sportsbook.
So don't try and catch me out.
Nearly got you there. Frank Smith singing. Andrew McCart, IFLTV. I'm here in Leeds for the media workout. Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall. Delighted as always to be joined by Mr. Frank Smith. Frank, I saw you out in Saudi. I do want to touch on that, but what a fight week we have here in Leeds.
Unbelievable fight, and a fight we've waited a long time for. Too long, it feels like years ago. It is years ago when the first fight happened, and Jack Catterall deserved the win that night, but he finally gets his chance to avenge that. And a massive moment, and a great fight for the sport as well. We're seeing great fights take place all over the world right now, but to bring a big fight to Leeds, a great fight in City. It's going to be a packed out arena in there on Saturday night, and I'm looking forward to a brilliant fight because you've got two well-matched fighters going in there and they're going to deliver a brilliant night.
What kind of fight are you expecting? Obviously, we know how Jack fights, we know how Josh fights. Josh has said that maybe he took his eye off the ball against Jack in the first fight, so I'm assuming we're going to get the best Josh Taylor out there. So what kind of fight are you expecting?
Yeah, I think definitely you're going to see the best, because for this moment, especially for Josh Taylor, I think if he wasn't to win in this fight, he'll retire. Because he's done amazing things. He's like we hear now, undisputed champion. He's been in there in some of the biggest fights. This is a fight for Jack Catterall that he needs to come through and get massive fights off the back of it. Josh has kind of been there. He's had those massive nights, and I think if he wasn't to get the win, it could be the end for him. But they're not going to be looking past Saturday night for either of them. I think we're going to see a real fight. I think there's a lot more fire and spite this time round than there was the first time round. I think they've waited a long time, especially Jack Catterall. He knows the performance he's got to put in to get a win, and I think we're in for a great night.
I'm glad you mentioned all the accolades that Josh had said then. Now, where does the loser go in this fight? Obviously, you back down the pecking order, but Eddie Hearn said to me that if you lose, you put in a good show, you can come again. So can you see the loser in this fight coming again?
Yeah, 100%. I can see them coming again, but my thing is more for Josh Taylor loss. It's hard to come back from him. Maybe not so much there's fights out there for him, but whether he still has the drive and desire to do it, because he's done so much in the sport already. Not many people have become undisputed champion. So it's just that for me would be the question mark. I think that Jack Catterall's got so much to give the sport, but neither of them will be thinking about a loss. I think it's different for the two of them personally.
Well, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, my arse is giving it that because I've known Josh since he was a kid and I became good friends with Jack Catterall. So it's a tough fight for me to sit and watch, but I'm going to be there and I can't wait. Talk to you about the card though, Frank, because you've got some very, very talented fighters. Two fighters in particular that I'm really excited about is Giorgio Fisioli and George Liddell, but you've also got Paddy Donovan, Gary Cully and all the likes, and Chef Clark. The future's bright for British boxing.
Yeah, look, it's a brilliant card from top to bottom. Brilliant undercard. Giorgio Fisioli, I've said we need some more of those one bangs in there on Saturday night. No pressure, but he's got to keep that going. Lilai Batibieg as well on the show. George Liddell, as you say. So great young talent coming through, and then the more established fighters. Gary Cully takes on Patera, which is a real tough fight and a real good fight. Gary obviously had his comeback fight last time out, and I think managed to get a lot of the pressure coming off the back of that loss he had, managed to sort of build himself back up, and I think you're going to see an even better performance from Gary Cully this weekend. Chef Clark, as you say, challenges Ellis Sorrow. Good to be working with Queensbury again to make great fights for the British title. Chef's waited a long time, but I'm glad we can make that fight for the British title because it's a brilliant fight, and I believe he's going to go a long way in the sport, Chef. And Lewis Ritson against Paddy Donovan, another brilliant fight as well. We all know what Lewis has done in the sport, and I think this is a big opportunity for Paddy as well. There's a lot of eyes looking at the potential Crocker fight. Crocker's got a tough fight as well on June 22nd, but yeah, some brilliant fights and lots to look forward to.
I want to go back to Saudi then. We're 4 days from Saudi, 90 whatever hours it is. Obviously, have you watched the fight back, Frank? And how do you score the fight, first of all? The right man won for you, or did you think Tyson nicked it?
I haven't watched it back, no. I think being there live was even better than watching it back again. It was an amazing night, amazing spectacle, and a night we waited a long time for, to see the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. I think Tyson Fury, I think after 7 rounds it was probably 5-2 to Tyson Fury. He looked really good in there, and then I think Usyk, as he always does, he finds a way. I think the scorecards were fair. I think the scorecards for Usyk, I think Usyk deserved to win. I think he turned the fight round in those latter rounds, and especially with that count from the ref. So I think it was a fair result and a brilliant fight, and exactly what we expected. When you've got two of the best going in, when you're talking about the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, it should be a close fight. And yeah, as I say, Fury was taking the lead early part of the fight, but Usyk showed why he is where he is. And I think you've got to argue with, with Alexander Usyk. He deserves to be pound for pound #1 in the sport.
AJ was there, sitting ringside with Cristiano Ronaldo. I was expecting Nigel there to give me a skeg there. No, definitely not good. AJ was there sitting ringside. I saw his little clip with him and Eddie when the scores were announced. Have you spoke to AJ since, and what is his immediate thoughts right now?
No, I spoke to him earlier, but not about the fight. I think he was interested to go down there. He loves boxing, loves the sport of boxing. He's been involved in big fights with Alexander Usyk. And all these fights are fights for him in the future. Same with the likes of the discussion around Hrgovic and Dubois, Wilder, Zhang, etc. He's interested in the sport of boxing. There's massive fights to be made. I always said as well before Saturday night, the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight, I think is still the biggest fight out there, regardless of the results either way.
Definitely, it's a fight that I still want to see no matter what. Even if they're 50-year-old men, I still want to see that fight. Frank, did you watch TalkSport? I know you've had your running with TalkSport and Simon Jordan and whatnot, but did you see this Frank Warren on TalkSport yesterday and his back and forth with Simon Jordan? And it was obviously, you've seen Eddie Hearn defend his fighters. Eddie Hearn backs his fighters. He'll be in the corner when it comes to us, the media. When we say something, he'll back his fighters to the hill. Frank Warren's the same. We witnessed that yesterday. So give me your thoughts on that whole exchange.
I didn't see it, honestly. I'm not making it up. I've had back.
There goes my soundbite.
Yeah. No, look, I've had my own back and forth with Simon Jordan. I think he's a bit of a numpty, as a lot of people do. But he's divisive. He gets people talking, and that's why he does good numbers on TalkSport. It's his job. But you don't have to agree with him. So I don't know what Frank Warren said. I don't know what Simon Jordan said. So I can't give you too much context on it. But my opinion on him is what I said there.
Josh Taylor coming round now. Listen, quick one on me. Talk to me about Johnny Fisher and Alan Babic. What a nice fight that is.
Spectacular fight. It's the kind of fight we need to make. Johnny Fisher. A lot of people thought at the start he was just a big ticket seller and didn't see where he'd be going. But I think he's got huge potential. He's got a great chin. He punches very hard. He's got a great engine. And a big ticket seller, which is a big thing as well. But Alan Babic is the perfect fight for him. Alan Babic coming off the back of just a loss for the WBC Bridgerweight title against a guy who's now going in to face Lawrence Okoli, former world champion. It's a real fight for Johnny Fisher. And that's why people are so excited for it. Because it's going to be, whichever way it goes, it's going to be a tear-up. Whether it goes 10 rounds or it goes a couple of rounds, it's going to be a war. Because both of them have got that in them. So, I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have over 7,000 people in there. Like I say, massive ticket seller, Johnny Fisher. It's going to be a special night.
I can't wait for it. It's in London, so I might not get there. Frank Smith, as always, thank you so much, man. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.